Hey guys, welcome to our third edition of Gear Time. And sorry we had some technical difficulties earlier today and some audio issues we didn't quite figure out before we got started, but now we should be good. You should be able to hear us.
Can you hear us?
Aaron's on chat, so you can chat with him and respond if there's any questions. But yeah, so when we start off this show, we want to ask you guys if you have any questions about the stuff we discussed today, be sure to chat with Aaron about it, and then we can go over those questions at the end of the show today.
Yeah, he'll bring them up and shout them over to us, and we can answer those questions. We said that we were going to do this show about sensor cleaning, and we're going to do the sensor cleaning show today, actually, but not to where it's released to you guys today. Our next Gear Time Live won't be live.
Yeah, we're going to pre-record the lens and sensor cleaning episode and present that to you next Thursday at 1 p.m.
Because next week, is it next week? Or is it?
I don't think it's next week.
Well, maybe
I think it's
this
the week
is not
after.
Going to be. Okay, well,
maybe
we're going to put one in the can.
Like...
We might do another one next week, and then we'll have the sensor cleaning one for the week that we are gone. We're going to be out in Oregon the first week in November, and that's when the sensor cleaning one is going to play. We're going to put that one in the can, so to speak, because we're going to the Photog Adventures listener experience out in
the Oregon coast.
Oregon coast, and you're welcome to come. We'd love to see you there.
Information is on our Facebook page, our Facebook listeners group, our Photog Adventures listeners group on Facebook is where all that information is. So if you're interested in coming and joining us, go to that page and join it.
We'll be there from the 3rd to the 10th. So, well, actually, it'll be, I think, the new listener experience
is
part
from
of
the 5th to the 10th.
The 5th to the 9th or something like that.
Yeah.
So, we did this last year, and it was a blast. We went and saw Thor's Well, Heceta Head, the
all up and down the whole coast.
Lighthouses, the bridges. It's amazing.
Secret Beach and Boardman, all the awesome places up there. So, yeah.
You're invited. Anyhow.
Okay, so what we have today is Drew brought over a couple of drones to show you the difference between the Phantom 4 Mark II, right?
No, this is the first one.
Oh, this is version 1. Okay, this is version 1. Okay.
The new one is the Phantom 4 Mark II.
Okay.
And that one, really the major difference between this one and that one, they upgraded the video a little bit.
Okay.
But the other thing that they did is they put OcuSync into it, which is what the Mavics use for theirs. So.
Okay.
Go away.
So you can have the goggles on with the new one. Is that why?
Yeah. Well, it's different. I mean, yeah, the goggles are neat, but they're hooked up to where OcuSync works with the goggles. But OcuSync is not the goggles. It replaces LightBridge, and so LightBridge is technology that DJI developed to get the video
from
back
the drone
from here to the monitor or to the goggles or whatever.
So OcuSync is the upgrade from.
Yeah, it's the new version of that. This does not.
LightBridge,
this doesn't have OcuSync in it. This has LightBridge 2.5 in it.
Okay.
And so does the Matrice, which is the last one that I had, has LightBridge 2.5 in.
Okay.
OcuSync is the new one. It actually gives you a little bit more solid link over a longer distance.
Okay, so it's like better bandwidth and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's the difference between this one and the old one. Now, the other drone that I lost after a little bit and am really interested in is the new Mavic 2 Professional, and we can talk about that one a little bit because there are some really intriguing things about that. And the truth is that the Mavic 2 Professional is not quite what the Phantom 4 Professional is as far as the quality of the video.
Really?
It does, and part of it is that they've stuffed the 1-inch sensor in that comes in the Phantom 4 Professional. This has a 1-inch Sony sensor, and that's the major difference between it and the Phantom 4.
Okay.
Is the 1-inch sensor from Sony. It's basically the same sensor as like the Sony
little pocket camera.
The really nice expensive one that costs about $1,000 has a 1-inch sensor.
Okay.
It's the I'll remember in a second. It's the Mark IV of that.
Okay.
But it's fantastic. It does a really good job with low light in a way that the Mavic 1 or the Phantom 4 just can't handle the low light.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a 1-inch sensor, a 1-inch sensor is about 4, maybe even 5 times as large as the sensor that was in the Phantom 4 or the Mavic 1.
Oh, really?
It's much larger.
Wow.
It's maybe half the size of a Micro Four Thirds sensor.
Okay.
And it's maybe a third or a quarter the size of the X7 sensor that's in this one.
Okay, so this is bigger than a Micro Four Thirds sensor?
Yes, this is a true crop sensor. So this is
APS-C.
Yep, it's the APS-C.
Okay.
And it's the Sony or Nikon APS-C that is really 1.5, not 1.6 on the crop factor.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what we're looking at. This one, low light, is amazing. And I brought some pictures to show what you can actually do from these drones.
Okay.
These are pictures that I've taken.
So let's see. Let's get a close up here of this one. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So which drone was this?
This is actually the Phantom 4 Professional.
Okay. So let's get some detail.
This is obviously low light. Well, I don't know if we're going to get a picture of a picture and show detail very well, but this is a picture that I took last November, about a year ago. No, let's see. It was last August.
Some detail. I mean, I can see detail like in the light down there.
Oh, look at this balloon right here. You can see
the balloon. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but
detail the rocks.
This is down in Mexico. Millimeter lens with the Inspire 2 and the X7. This one,
wow.
This one actually,
great detail in there.
We're in Utah. This one, I won first place in the professional category, the professional class in landscape photography at the State Fair with that picture this year.
Nice.
So,
okay,
and
hold for a sec. No sound is what they're claiming.
Oh dear.
And it's because that Video Pro keeps turning off. I think sound came back, but it went away. Sound back. I had to get up to fix the video feed, but the sound was fine when I stopped. But it looks like it's back now. But why on earth is it doing that?
Well, it shouldn't be unless when we switch cameras.
It wasn't that. It had to switch. It's not that. It went blue on us while it was being used, and then this camera I swapped to.
I wonder if it's is the camera going to sleep or something?
No, it's not. Although on the back it said hit this button to activate video mode, and it's not because of that. So guys, we're back. We have audio, I believe. Let me make sure we're listening to myself talk here. Yeah, it's hearing me. So,
okay, good.
Rewind just a little bit, just so that they have.
Okay.
That audio.
Should we cover
the State Fair? Talk about the State Fair one, yeah.
Give us like 2.
Did we cover this one?
I think so.
Did you guys hear about this one?
Let us know in the comments.
Delayed response.
Yeah.
Any images you guys want?
Okay.
$1,000, you know.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it's
They're not answering yet, even though the audio has come through my ears, so they're just not answering. Go for it. Talk about them short.
Okay, so this one was one that was taken at Teotihuacan with the Phantom 4 Professional last year in August. And the Phantom 4...
Real quick, the first image was that one, right?
Yes, this one.
You said it left after that image, so stay a short summary, then go to the next ones.
Okay, so the Phantom 4 Professional has a 20 megapixel camera on it.
Okay.
Okay. This one is a 24 megapixel camera, but it's with a crop sensor rather than a 1-inch sensor.
And so with an interchangeable lens, right?
Yeah,
so
and the interchangeable lenses. So I'll show you what those lenses look like. So right here, this is, I have a big hard case that I carry the drone around in, but sometimes I just like to leave it in the back of my car and to just make sure there's nothing that's going to roll around and hit it. And then I carry this little case that I've made where I can put the extra batteries in, and I can put my lenses and the extra batteries for the remote in these little slots. But it has a 35 millimeter lens, has a 24 millimeter lens, and then it's got a 50 millimeter lens, and then there's a 16 on the camera right now. Now, it's interesting because this is a new mount, and I'm going to let's take this off right here, and I'll show you what this is called the DL mount. And this was developed by DJI, probably with the help. It's my understanding that the lenses are actually made by Fuji. And what the problem is if you look at the flange distance between the sensor and the back of this lens, it's tiny and it's completely different. And they designed that way, where you don't have you have a different flange distance, because they could use with the X5 series cameras that fly on the Phantom 1 and the Inspire 1 and the Matrice series and the X5S that flies on this one. Those will use micro four thirds lenses. Just a specific subset of them, but I had all those when I had that drone. When you have a crop sensor with a sensor that's this size, they had to come up with something completely different, and they came up with their own
mount for it, basically. Okay.
Now, last week we talked about Laowa. Now, Laowa has developed, and it's just coming out. And remember, you have the crop factor on these, and so you got a 1.5, but this 16 essentially is a 24. And a 24, when you're really high up, is really actually pretty wide. But there are some times when a wider lens might be really fun, and Laowa has developed a 9 millimeter f2.8 lens that will fly on this drone.
Oh, wow.
And so that's coming out. They're just releasing it. So
that's cool.
They announced it as one of the lenses that they announced when they were at Photokina this past a week and a half ago.
Oh, cool. That's fun.
So that's going to be fun. I actually probably will sell the 24 or something and buy the 9 because I don't use the 24 and 35 that often.
Okay.
But the thing that is wonderful, that's just so different, if we show this picture again there, Brendan, is that one of the things that you get, and I have another picture that even illustrates this more, is it's something that we as photographers really understand. But people who are just doing drones, they don't think about that much. There are a lot of people that like drones for drone's sake. I like it because I've got a flying tripod, right? And is the compression. When you start using these longer lenses, you can get this building in the foreground, and you can get the height of the mountains and things like that in the background, where you're just, if I use a 16 millimeter on this, I'm going to be right next to it instead of a mile off. And these mountains that are back here are going to be about this big. And so that's one of the real advantages to using the Inspire 2 with interchangeable lenses instead. There are some others as well, and this is a completely different beast, but the Mavic 2 Professional is an amazing little camera. It is not quite as good as this one, but the trade-off for the portability is amazing. It's well worth it in a lot of cases, and I actually probably would trade this one for that one if I had the chance. But
that's the one that we want to get, so hopefully we can get that in the next 6 months or so.
That's the one you need.
Yeah.
And because it does great low light performance. It will augment your videos that you guys are doing, and it's so easy. You can stuff it in your pocket.
Right. That's what I really like about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, because I got into this because I'm a photographer, not because I like RC toys, or really not because I'm making the videos. It's because I want to take good. I mean, more than anything, I like good stills. This also has Apple ProRes RAW in 6K in it that it'll do.
Wow.
So it will do H.265 Apple ProRes RAW in 6K.
Wow.
I had to upgrade my computer
to handle that.
It is crazy. I mean, the compression on the H.265 is nice, and the Apple ProRes RAW, it compresses it way, way down. But it takes a lot of computing power to handle that kind of compression and decompression. So, so that's it. This has some other neat things. It has 2 batteries. The Inspire 2 has 2 batteries here.
Versus the Inspire 1 that has 1 battery.
Right, and so if you have a battery fault or something, I took off one time, and one of these popped a little bit loose, and so it completely came disconnected, where if something like that happened with the Inspire 1, you crash.
Yeah.
So this popped completely loose. It gave me a battery error. I could land it.
Right.
Okay. And so if you have, you know, if one of your batteries gets sick, then you're not going to crash your drone.
Right.
So there's a lot of redundancy. It also has 2 IMUs, dual IMUs, and it has dual compasses in it. So that's one of the advantages. This one actually does too.
Really? Has dual
way.
compass?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Phantom 4 Professional has a dual compass and dual IMU as well.
Wow.
Another thing that this one has is this one has the ability to record to what they call a Cine SSD card in the back. That's their own thing. This is 480 gigabytes.
It has a custom connector in the back as well.
Yep,
Okay.
and it's all custom. I mean, you can buy the, what are they called, the M.3 memory cards that are about the same size or drives. But I mean, these are expensive. That's about $500 just for that.
Right.
But it needs it because it needs to record and dump the data super fast to it.
And SSD is the only way to go.
Yep. Yeah. And then they have it. They actually just came out with, and I can't justify it, but they came out with a reader that is a Thunderbolt 3 reader for this.
Okay.
I have the USB 3.
Okay.
But sometimes it takes. I mean, it takes forever to move
all that data.
Yeah, 480. When one of those is full, it's sad. I think we'll cover this a different day, but you remember the Boss, Lacey Boss drive that I have?
Yeah.
It'll unload this.
Okay.
So you can plug the reader into the drive and unload it. So that's something else. I wish it was faster, but it makes it so I don't have to buy a bunch of those drives.
Right.
So this drone will carry the X5S, and it'll carry the X7 camera, and it'll carry one that's called the X4, which is, you know, kind of the equivalent of the little old golf ball camera that was on the front of the Inspire 1.
Okay.
So
so you have 3 camera options with this.
Yeah.
This one, there is no camera options, right? It's
no,
just,
it is what it is.
It comes with. Okay.
But the other advantage is not just the sensor. This one has a mechanical shutter.
Oh.
And the mechanical shutter will do 1/2000th of a second.
Okay.
You can also use you can also use the electronic shutter at 1/8000th of a second if you need to. But there's some real advantages to using a mechanical shutter, especially with video. It also has a mechanical aperture in it, so you can adjust your aperture. Now it only goes to f11, so that's as crop down, crank down as you can get. But that's a real advantage to it as well, that the other drones just don't have the ability to have a mechanical aperture to the camera. And so it goes up to about ISO 6400 for stills, and ISO 3200 for video.
Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. Like we said at the beginning of the show, if you guys have any questions, send those in the chat feed so Aaron can take a look at those and he can answer those at the end of the show. I think we're going to move on to controllers now.
Okay.
Okay. So this is I'm assuming this is the default controller because this looks just like my Inspire 1 controller.
Yes. Now, one thing, I mean, that you might not know is that Inspire 1 and the Phantom 4 can use the same controller. Exactly the same controller.
Okay.
This one only works with this one, and I use it, but
Same
I use
color.
it to do this is the one that came with this drone. And I use it to do two-man op.
Okay, so this will fly the drone.
Yep.
And you have another controller here that can control the camera.
Yes, except I usually use it the other way around, but either way. So this one is a controller that is called the Cendence Remote. And
Okay, now look at the difference. That thing is beefy. I mean, it's just...
Well, it's not just beefy. There's more to it than that. This one
it's really
has...
professional.
Yeah, this one has aperture, shutter, has exposure compensation, and ISO that are right here where I can push the button and I can scroll that. As a matter of fact, let's turn this baby on.
Okay. And is there a lens cap taken off?
Oh,
okay, so
maybe you ought to put the batteries back on.
Maybe batteries would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
So turn it on just like you turn on any other DJI. Double click.
Why do I feel like I'm in a Terminator movie all of a sudden?
Where's Sarah Connor?
Okay, so here we are. So what this one will do, let's see, is right here we've got our camera, and the other thing, if you look right here, see I can turn around this way or this way
with just the wheel.
Yeah, with the wheel that's up here.
Yeah, finger wheel.
This one is up and down, which almost all the drones have. Is this in the top left corner? They've got the up and down, and the right corner has the back and forth for the Inspire series.
Right.
Now, the reason that that's important is because if you look at this drone right here, see that this camera is the pilot camera.
Oh, right. Okay, so this one has two cameras.
Yes, so this is the camera that's taking the video or the pictures, and this is the pilot camera. So if you're doing video, like I could be flying this with this controller, and you could be flying this, and this one actually does have both wheels. Okay. And so I could be flying this, looking out the little camera in the front.
Okay, and then I would control the camera with this one.
And you can control that. And the reason that this one is awesome is you guys have seen these where the landing gear lifts up. So that landing gear lifts up, and the landing gear gets out of the way of the field of view of the camera.
Right.
Even if the camera swings around. And see, with this one, that can't work, because if this flips around, and that's the reason that this only has this much motion.
Right, because these legs get in the way.
Is because you get in the way of the legs, so you can't see that. So you can spin this all the way around. You can also look up, which is one of the things that's neat about the Phantom 4 cannot look up. Okay?
But the Mavic Pro 2.
Mavic Pro 2 can look up.
Right.
And so if you're coming up on a waterfall and you want to like lift that camera view up, you can do that.
Okay.
Well, you can do that with this, and you can also spin this around to where I can be, if you wonder how these guys are taking the video of the rally cars, and you're going, oh my gosh, they're down so low and they're flying through trees and everything like that, it's because the pilot with the pilot cam can see where he's flying. And he doesn't care what the cameraman is pointing the other camera at. And so he can track it around like this, and he can do whatever he wants.
Nice, nice.
So that's the advantage. The other advantage to this remote is that this has separate batteries on the back. It also, well, this is the Crystal Sky monitor. You can use this with a phone. You can use the remote with a phone. You can use the remote with an iPad or an Android tablet. But this uses the same batteries right here as the Crystal Sky, the remote does, and the monitor does, and that makes it so that you can change the battery in the middle of a shoot. So if you've been flying all day long, you don't have to go, oh, well, hold on everybody, wait a minute, I got to recharge the controller for an hour and a half.
Right.
And so that's one of the other advantages to this. The other thing, this is the ultra bright Crystal Sky 7.85 monitor, and it is super, super bright.
So if you're in the middle of the day shooting something, you can still
You don't
see
need
your
a
image.
hood.
Right.
You don't need anything. I mean, sometimes just because of the glare, I'll twist around to where it's in the shadow of my body. But that's about it. But it is amazing. Gets kind of hot in the summertime, but I've never had any problems. Some people have actually had problems with them. I mean, if you're in Mexico and it's 110 degrees, I mean, the operating temperature on this is, it specifically says it only is to be operated up to 104 degrees.
Okay.
So there's that. Now, the other thing that this has is this has a BNC out right here.
Oh, wow.
So if you're on a news crew, you can run a BNC connector out to the truck.
Right.
Okay. It also has an HDMI out. This also has an HDMI out. This also has the ability to record to an SD card as you're flying.
And it has 2 slots, it looks like.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
And you can take the HDMI out here and you can run it to a TV to where if you were on a set or something, the director can be watching what you're flying. This also has a patch antenna that is, these have the regular little antennas. This will go further out, but it's pretty directional.
Yeah,
so,
you have to be aiming at the drone.
Yep.
Okay.
So, you like my jacket?
Yeah, so another thing we wanted to bring up was, what is this getup? And tell us all about this vest and this tag and the whole outfit going on here.
So guys, we have applied for a 333, which is came out before the Part 107. My business partner and I had, and we actually did it under him because he has a pilot's license, and you had to have a pilot's license. And we were counting down. We had applied in December 2.5 years ago, and we had waited, and then they came up with a Part 107 right about when our 333 would have come through. And so they said, forget it, just go get the 107 instead. And so I went and got my 107 right off the bat, which is the Part 107 license for drone pilots, commercial drone pilots in the United States. Now, it was 2 weeks ago, President Trump in the United States just signed a new bill that is going to change the way things work if you are a hobbyist. So really, Brendan, you're going to need to get your Part 107 in order to use your drone for Photog adventures.
Right.
And I'll help you do that.
Okay.
But I just went through, and I had to, every 2 years you have to re-up it, and it's not that hard. You don't need to go on do a course. There are a lot of people that sell courses on how to prepare and everything like that. I never did that. I just studied. Right now, Tony from Northrop Photography has, and it's getting just a little bit dated, but it will work just fine. He has a course. If you study that and you do a little bit of YouTube
That's what came
review,
to my mind when we thought about that.
you're going to be just fine. But I went and I took my reoccurrence test yesterday, actually, and it's 40 questions. You do an hour and a half. I get to avoid the weather and the METARs and all that kind of stuff that I had to study and know the first time. But they are dang serious about charts and safety. Those are the things. They want you to know when you're in airspace that you shouldn't be in. I mean, really, what this little license is about is combining drones with the public airspace in a safe manner.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Right.
Okay, so what's going to end up happening?
So hobbyists are going to change, because right now hobbyists can almost do whatever they want. I mean,
yeah, they can. They don't have the height restriction.
Right.
They don't have a flying at night restriction. Part 107 pilots even have a flying at night restriction. I actually, right here, I carry with me all the time. I've got what's called a waiver. That's my daylight waiver that allows me to go and shoot at night.
Okay.
So there's some different requirements. I had to apply for that separately, but you have to have it.
Okay.
Now the other thing is, this is my nerd jacket, but it's also my invisibility cloak. And even if I was a hobbyist, I would get one of these. As a matter of fact, when I was a hobbyist, I had one of those, and I have it in my case. And it doesn't say what this one says on the back.
Where this one says...
See, this one says that I'm a FAA licensed drone pilot.
Yep, and please do not
I
disturb.
love the last part. Show the last part again. Turn around and hold it back further.
Okay.
Please do not disturb. Don't ask me if I should be here.
Yeah.
Just assume that I'm okay to be here.
So you can buy one of these. I bought it on Amazon.
Okay.
But the FAA has actually asked licensed drone pilots to wear these dork jackets. And the reason that they have is they're getting too many calls from local law enforcement where they've gotten called by somebody's neighbor saying, is that guy okay doing what he's doing? And the law enforcement doesn't even know if that's okay. And so the law enforcement is calling the FAA and plugging the FAA up when the FAA is trying to just answer these dumb questions from the local law enforcement instead of going after the people that have a real problem. So that's, you know, they need time to go deal with real problems, not is the guy that's filming the house for the realtor over there doing something illegal or not. So that's why they ask you to do this. What it allows you to do, and why I call it an invisibility cloak, is that when I don't wear this and I go fly, people call. So even when I was in Ireland, I got the drone registered in Ireland. And I mean, I've flown the drone in Hungary, I've flown it in Germany, I've flown it in Ireland, I've flown it in Mexico, I've flown it in Thailand. But even when I fly there, I don't wear one that says that I'm a FAA authorized drone pilot, because obviously the FAA doesn't mean anything if you don't live in the United States. But I wear the yellow one. And I still wear the vest. And the reason that I do is because it basically is telling everybody I'm taking responsibility for this and I'm not breaking any rules. Otherwise, I wouldn't be wearing this.
Right. You know, it wouldn't draw attention to yourself. Right.
And so it works. It works really well. The other thing is that I do teach the new DJI new pilot experience course at our local camera shop. That's going to be our sponsor here. Okay. So I wore that because it makes me feel like I'm cool.
Yeah, nice. Like backstage pass.
Yeah, it's my backstage pass.
Okay.
But if you've got any questions about, I'll watch the thread here.
Yeah, do we have any questions?
Future, but if
none
you
so far, actually, none. They're not hitting us up with anything.
Okay.
If people do in the future, I will try to pay attention to this one and I'll jump on there. Or if you come into the Photog Adventures Facebook group, I can answer drone questions there. When I get into something, I get a little bit crazy about it, and so I think I've got most of how to do this down pretty well.
Yeah.
So we have a question from Olaf Olsen, a fantastic photographer out of the Faroe Islands. He says, info on how to register from different countries. He's in the Faroes. How do you register the FAA when you're not you're not an American citizen? How long did the process also take you?
You know, it depends. Every country is different. Some countries, if I wanted to fly a drone in India, I could, but I would have to basically be attached to a news gathering organization or a media company or something like that. They basically don't have any hobby capability at all to get you registered.
Really?
You're going to pay some money to fly in India. I'm not going to go to India because I can't take my drone, at least not right now. So I may figure that out, and I may do that at some point. Cambodia, you can't fly in Cambodia. Somebody flew a drone over the Queen Mother as she was doing her yoga in the morning.
Oh, yeah,
she
like
said,
3 years ago.
Yeah, she said, no more drones, no drones.
They just banned them, right?
And that's it. That's what happens when you have a queen.
That's so silly.
You can't do it anymore there.
Says no.
Yeah, exactly. So but with Ireland, it wasn't that big a deal. In the UK, you don't need to go and pre-register at all. And so that's a little bit different. They have rules, but I could fly under the hobbyist rules. And actually, in the UK, the hobbyist rules are far more reasonable than they are here. I could fly in national parks. I could fly. You can do things that you can't do there, but they say you got to stay. I believe it's, if I remember right, you can't launch or land if you're within 200 feet of anybody else at all, and you can't overfly anything that's sensitive. That would be reasonable compared to the knee-jerk reaction that we had from somebody crashing one of these into the Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone and shutting it down for everybody in the United States, period, with all the national parks. They should have come up with something that's a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't think that like if you asked me to make the rules, I'd say, yeah, you can't fly one of these up the main column of Zions. You know, the main road, there's too many people, you can't keep track of that. But Zions is a huge national park.
It's huge.
And you know, maybe you can't fly one in the main Yosemite Valley because that's so densely visited. But again, that's like
Japanese tourists. We saw Japanese tourists there with a little Mavic Pro, and he just pulled it out of his pocket, and as soon as it was like 50 feet away, you couldn't hear it at all.
Yeah,
and no one even knew he was even doing anything. He's just looking with the
new ones are quiet, but see, I won't do that. I won't do that because I don't want to break the rules. And
he may not have been aware of the rules, but there you go. You have a guy with video footage now, Yosemite, and it's like,
I've seen that, and I've pulled my license out with somebody who is flying illegally. See, downtown Salt Lake is Class B airspace to the ground, right around a lot of the downtown. You cannot fly there, period. And I've seen people doing really dumb things and flying over people. I've walked over there and showed them my license, and they, you know, they're foreign. They don't know that this is just a license to allow me to do that. And I'm like, you guys just hold it up. And I'm like, you can't fly here. It's too close to the airport. And because I'm serious about that. I don't want people to. I don't want drone operators to get a bad reputation and screw this up for all of us.
Right.
So last question, we're almost done out of here. Kurt Keyes asked, is Drew bringing a drone to the Oregon Listener Adventure?
Oh yeah, this baby's coming to Oregon.
Seriously? On the plane?
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're going to get some amazing epic footage from that.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
all right.
For sure.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for this edition of Gear Time. Thanks for going over all the drones, Drew, and filling us in with all this awesome detail and great content. If you guys want to join us again next week, it's Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And be sure to join us on Facebook. Our Facebook group is Photog Adventures Listeners, and our main Facebook page is Photog Adventures on Facebook. So see you guys and have a great week.
Yeah, have a great week. We'll see ya.